Then I just come back to the live that was here 20 minutes ago. Okay. Okay, let's go. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. All right. Welcome. All right. All right, welcome to Mastering Wedding Photography, a beginner's guide to comprehensive wedding photography. Welcome to my live stream. My name is Sam. I'm a wedding photographer here in Ottawa, Ontario. I've been doing this for a number of years, and I started this channel to essentially educate aspiring photographers to build a profitable business. So, for those of you who love photography, who want to learn about photography, specifically a way to generate income, then wedding photography is absolutely the best way to go about that. And so, the purpose of this course essentially is to teach you the fundamentals of photography, specifically wedding photography, what you need in terms of gear, the business tools that you must absolutely have in order to run a profitable business, as well as how to manage the business, specifically your client, your lifeline of your business. And so, who is this course for? Someone who loves cameras, someone who loves photography, someone who is looking to maybe perhaps generate additional income as a side gig, potentially want to do this full time, and someone who is into the arts, someone who wants to find a way to let out that artistic outlet, that need to create something that they enjoy and the world would enjoy. And photography absolutely falls within that category. It is an art in and of itself. And then someone who may have been working in the corporate world for a number of years, and they want to quit the daily grind, the 9 to 5, as they would say. That's who this particular course is for. And so my vision here is really to provide you the most comprehensive course to those who want to go full pro. And so how do we go about that? Well, I'm going to teach you. That's my whole goal, my whole mission. And so ideally, I want my course to accelerate your journey to become a skilled professional photographer and also launch a profitable business within 12 months. And so I'm going to do that how? By delivering a comprehensive curriculum through a personalized mentorship and training, and also to empower you to capture stunning moments. So that's the whole objective here. So obviously, you need gear. It is important, but it's not the most important. It's not the only thing. I think as photographer, we get caught up, unfortunately, a little bit with the gas, as they would say, gear acquisition syndrome. And so we put all of our time, effort, and unfortunately money behind this, and we assume by having the end all be all, we're gonna be running a profitable business, and that could be furthest from the truth. But you still need a camera to run a photography business. So what should you buy? Well, if you're just starting a business, cash flow is going to be limited. You're not going to have income right away that will help you buy all of the gear that you need. And so the whole point is to start slow and also spread out your resources. You don't want to put all your money, all your chips into camera and then let the rest of the business falter. That's the wrong way to go about it. So my thing would be, if you're gonna start this business today, you should absolutely buy used gear, especially camera gear from previous owners. Majority of professional grade cameras that are bought by the public are hardly ever used, and so they are a fantastic bargain. And so I will always go the use route, at least early on in this particular venture. You can always upgrade as the months and the years go. So always go and look for buy good quality used gear. Try not to buy them from businesses that sell used gear, because it's likely been used by a professional. So I love to use eBay and also Facebook Marketplace to find deals from the public, people who love photography but don't do it seriously enough that it will actually put too much wear and tear on the cameras. And so that's what I would do. I would buy used. Now, the big debate about APNC crop sensor cameras and full frame is really not that important. To this day, I'm still using a crop sensor camera, and my clients are none the wiser. With the advent of Adobe Lightroom denoise feature, crop sensor cameras used to be considered to be noisy, especially in the evenings on low light situations. However, now with AI or artificial denoise, that problem is no longer an excuse and a reason to go and drop a significant amount of money on full frame cameras. If you can afford a full frame camera or you own one, that's perfect. That's the standard, but it's not necessary from the beginning. Two, once you have a decent quality, professional quality camera, okay, not a consumer grade camera, you need to buy something professional that's made for work. You definitely need to have a camera that has a dual memory slot, simply because memory card fail and you don't want to be the one making the call to your clients and letting them know, oh, by the way, I lost your wedding photos. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen, and that will take you out, and there goes your business. So buy dual memory slot memory cards, and then limit them to 128 gig. Switch them up halfway through or a third of the way through each day, and you should be okay. The next thing is, you need to have a camera that can shoot around 20 to 25 megapixels. The good news is cameras that came out in 2018, 4, 5, 6 years ago, are able to do that. And so that means that you don't need to buy the latest camera. So you can go back to, for example, a Fujifilm X-T3, which I currently own and still use for work related business. This camera came out in 2018. It's almost 6 years old at this point, and this is still the standard, and it's still good enough for what I do. It shoot, I believe, 26 megapixel, and the pictures that come out of this are absolutely stunning. And so don't go and buy expensive cameras. Cameras that are 5, 6 years old are good enough for wedding photography. Now, you definitely need a camera that has interchangeable lenses. You want to be able to take the lens off and put something bigger for when you need it. So, in any given day at a wedding, you might be using 3, 4 lenses. And so, an interchangeable lens camera is absolutely a must, so that you don't bring too much gear. You don't want to be hauling too much equipment throughout the day. You want to be fast, nimble, and light on your feet. So, that's why a couple of cameras, couple lenses, and then you can roll throughout the day. Next, what lens should you buy? Well, the same way that APNC versus full frame debate rages all over the place, lens is also a debate all over the place when it comes to photography forums. What I would buy if I was starting over today would be a 24 to 70 f2.8. That would be my go-to lens. You can get away with a 35 millimeter f1.4 prime lens as your first lens. It is the bare minimum. You can buy a decent quality prime lens for $500. However, you're going to be limited. It's going to be wide all the time. Buying a 24-70 will give you the tight focal range, and it will give you the wide focal range. And that will allow you to only roll with one camera at a time. There is a lot of recommendations from professional photographer educators specifically recommending that anybody who's doing wedding photography have should be using two cameras with two prime lenses, a 35 and 85. That's fine. That's actually great. But for a newbie who's still learning the ropes, it's actually the worst possible recommendations, because now, while they're still trying to learn how to do this job, the worst thing they want to do is be unfortunately bogged down with too many cameras and constantly fiddling with the settings, and that will slow them down. They'll miss shot and will likely not deliver the best possible quality they can possibly can, which is why I always recommend a 24-70, one camera, one lens, a zoom lens, and at least use that for a couple of years. Maybe not a couple of years, but for at least a couple of weddings while you get used to the pace of the day, until before you roll up with two cameras with two prime lenses. All right. The next set is, these are, you ideally must have the 85 millimeter focal length. That's a portrait lens. That, I believe, will be the one that will take the nicest pictures of your whole gallery. They have often the slowest f-stop at f1.2. And so what happens then, your backgrounds will be blurred, blown out, maybe blown, not blown out, but rather you will have some of the most creamiest bokeh possible. And so it will really make fantastic images. You should have an 85 from now until the end of time, until they come up with something better. And but also a 70 to 200. That will likely be your most expensive lens, your biggest and most expensive lens. A 24, a 70 to 200 at the bare minimum costs $2,000. It's going to be one, your most expensive lens, and also likely your least used lens, but it's a must have. A 70 to 200 lens comes out during the ceremony, arguably for the most important part of the day, and having one will allow you to really stay in the back of the church and take picture of the ceremony while not becoming part of the ceremony. You don't want to make it by yourself. And a 70 to 200 allows you to get close to the action without actually physically being there. And so if money was no object, all right, and you had all the money to throw out your business today, ideally you want to have a combination of a 24 to 70, a 70 to 200. You can use these two lenses all day and you'll be fine. But an 85 millimeter portrait lens will be absolutely the best lens you can have in terms of the quality of the image, and a 35 millimeter in terms of providing you with a wide focal length at a low f-stop. So the way I use these four combo lenses throughout the days. I would typically be using the 24 to 70 for the good portion of the day on my primary body, and then my 85 millimeter will be strapped to me with my dual strap harness on the other side, and I'll be using these two lenses together. Then during the ceremony, I will remove the 85 millimeter and I will put on the 70 to 200. That lens will be used throughout the course of the ceremony, and then it comes off again and the 85 goes back on my second body, and I'll go back to the 24 to 70 and the 85. Now, I stopped using the 24 to 70 because at night it's not exactly the you know the best lens for nighttime photography. The 35 millimeter f1.4 opens wider, allows more light in, and it allows you to take better pictures. So then by the end of the night, I'll be using a 35 and an 85. That's how I will use it. And if you have a combination of these four lenses, it will set you back at the bare minimum $5,000. Okay. They're not cheap, but if you want to put a quality gallery together for your clients, this is the combination of lenses that you want to have. Now, backups and redundancy are super, super important. Gear fails all the time. Unfortunately, gear gets stolen. Things happen. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you can't do your job. And again, you have an angry client. Angry clients typically means a lawsuit. So that's why I suggest try to have at least two camera bodies, ideally three if you can, and then at least 3 or 4 lenses throughout the day. And if one lens goes down, you can roll with the others. You'll be okay. Okay. Now, you can relatively cheap out on your camera. And I say relatively, you don't want to go too cheap and buy a consumer grade camera, but you shouldn't put all your money into your cameras. You want to put as much money as possible on your lenses. In my world, they call dating your camera, but you're married to your lenses. You might upgrade your camera, but you'll likely hold on to your lenses for a long time, sometimes 5, 10 years. So that's why when you're buying lenses, you want to buy quality lenses because you'll likely hold them for a long time. Lens technology doesn't change that much year over year, which is why once you buy them, you have them for a significant period of time. Now, where can you cheap out? Because eventually you're going to have to cut costs. When you're running a photography business, it is expensive. You need a lot of gear initially. You don't have to spend a lot of money on tripods. They're not that technologically complex. So you don't need anything expensive. My tripod that I bought a number of years ago, $100. Okay, I'm still using it today. This is what I'm using to film the majority of my videos, and I'll probably use it for a long time. So don't need to buy expensive tripods. You definitely need a quality flash. A flash. Um, each camera brand make their own, and so my suggestion, go with the Godox brand because one, they deliver excellent quality lenses, flashes, but they also make them at a reasonable price. And so a Godox flash will cost you about $300, whereas typically the branded flash for a camera brand will be around 500. So you get to save a couple of $100. It adds up because you typically need at least two or three. And then a dual strap harness. Those are very useful, but again, you don't need to spend a lot of money. They're just accessories. It's just kind of like a belt you wear around your shoulders to hold your cameras to you throughout the day. A nylon grade dual harness strap is good enough. You don't need to go and spend $300-400 or a souped up leather string. Okay, just get yourself a decent $40 one, and you'll be good for it. And now that you have your camera and your lenses, you need to practice, 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 practice. That's what you need to do. All right. Moving on. The essential business tools. So now that you have your camera gear, you need to start building your business tools and your ideally you want to have a client relationship management system, what they call a CRM, which is essentially a software that allows you to one, manage your clients, track events like your wedding days, your engagement shoots, allows you to accept payments, and most importantly, your contracts. You should never work with a client without a contract. You never know when they'll just turn and get upset about whatever, and then essentially take their frustration on you and potentially come after you for whatever reason. So a CRM is super important, especially to get a legally binding contract signed between the two of you, outlining the terms and services. That is absolutely a most critical thing. You got to play defense sometimes with your business because people are emotional. Weddings are emotional. People have insane expectations sometimes, and you don't want to be on the end of their wrath. But a CRM really helps with removing what we call a customer pain point. It makes things easier. Having a digital CRM allows you to send out contracts and invoices and allows the client to make payments quickly, sign these things without having to email documents back and forth, complicated processes. CRM is where it's at. Okay. All right. Following along. This one is a must. Your website. I've noticed that a few wedding photographers don't actually have one, and they just works primarily off of their of their social media accounts, and it does a disservice to their to their business because they don't look legit. Okay, and they're relying a lot on organic reach from these platforms to give them clients, and it's not really long, it's not a sustainable long term because these platforms change algorithms often, and they can just wipe you out so fast that a website will at least protect you from, losing out on the potential clients. A website, um, at the end of the day, is a tool that allows you to, get qualified leads. And a website, a domain name belongs to you. So if you, John Smith, decide to buy johnsmith.com, that web domain name belongs to you, doesn't belong to a platform. And so, as they say, build on land you own, not on land you rent. When you own a YouTube account, a Google account, a Instagram account, a Facebook account, you don't own any of these. So that's why we recommend always owning your own website, because you can build your business on there. Okay. And last piece is your Google business page. Your Google's business page, by the way, is free. And so that tool allows you to essentially show up on the Google search page when they enter, say, maybe you're from Kitchener wedding photographer. If you have a Google business page, you'll be part of the batch of businesses that will show up on the search page. You may now rank high enough, but if you build your Google business page and you get client testimonials, the more you have, the more likely you'll show up in the search, which is why once you built your website, you want to go ahead and activate your Google business page in order to start building that rapport with the tool. And it helps you be found on the Google Map tool. Google Map in and of itself is almost a search engine. And so that's why a Google business page is super, super important as part of your business tools. And that's what I would suggest you create initially, or at least in the early stages of your business. Okay, next piece, the big day. This is when you're showing up, and don't be shy. Don't worry. You're not the only one. If you're nervous on the day or the day before, we all are. Even after a number of years, I still am. And so, as they say, being prepared is key here, but also setting up reasonable expectations. When you're preparing for the big day, my suggestion, and I hope by that time you would have had a conversation with your clients. Um, what I do with mine is anytime a client reaches out to me, and before I take any payment, I do a consultation call with them. This is when I one figure out what these clients are expect of me, and also I let them know what I can deliver. And this is when you figure out if you fit, if you're the right fit together. And asking the right questions are super important, because this is when you're going to find out, are they going to have a very large wedding that will require you to bring in additional photographers to help you provide adequate coverage. You want to know how many locations so that you don't miss part of the day, because now the party moves somewhere else. And then also, are they comfortable with your editing style? Sometimes clients don't do enough research about the photographers they're hiring, so they're surprised when the final product shows up because they haven't really looked at your portfolio like that. Especially because they're going to be looking at a number of photographers. So by the time they do their sixth, seventh, or eighth photographer, I doubt that they'll have seen a majority of your work. But really asking them, if one, they saw your work, do they like it? And I would go out of my way to send them a couple of completed galleries, show them what a final product would looks like. So send them, I use the website Pixieset to send out my client galleries. So I suggest you show that to them so they see what they're gonna get before they sign that contract. Now, as part of my booking process, I have a number of documents that I share with the clients. One of them is a shot list of all of the most important combination of pictures that they may want. So mine has, I believe, around 88. And so those 88 shots could be mom with the bride with the sister, the bride, the sister, and the groom. You can do an almost an infinite number of combination, but at least giving them a list of things that you must capture will let you know what they value most. Not every couple value the same things, and knowing what they want the most without guaranteeing that you'll get them, at least you'll know these are the combination of pictures my clients want. That's what I'm going to aim for throughout the day and refer to that list. Next piece, you're going to likely be involved one way or another in throughout the chaos of the day. So I like to have a look at the final timeline before they, I guess, finalize it. Not because I want to play, wedding planner, but really I want to have an opportunity to see whether they have put up, at least saved enough space throughout the day to do the family formals. That's I would say the most important part of the your photography session through the day is all the family photos. Sometimes clients don't leave enough time to do those. They may assume, oh, I have a small wedding. There's about 80 people going to be here. We only need to capture the photos of 20 or 30 people. I'll say 15 minutes. Nothing takes 15 minutes in wedding photography. Everything is like triple or quadruple the time you think it will take. So family formals, I think 45 minutes to an hour is what it will take to get people to the right location within the venue site, and then afterwards working with them to get them in the right spot and posing them and making sure they're standing in the right spot. And every picture will take at least 5 minutes to set up. And when we're talking about a bride with a very intricate dress that can move around, it makes it very difficult for um, to go fast, essentially. And so that's why I say get involved in the timeline. Make sure that they leave enough time between location change, and they save you the time you need. If you also want to maybe have like a sunset photo shoot, this is your time to put it in the schedule or the timeline, and then you will have that photo shoot. You don't wait till the day of and ask them if people are interested in doing a timeline or a sunset photo shoot. You want to put it into the timeline so it's already pre agreed upon. Next piece, collaborating with other vendors. This is when you're going to be able to network the most. Connecting with DJs is really important. Make sure that you take a lot of details of, like, the arc, all of the decoration, the table set, all the flowers. Take as much pictures as you possibly can of the venue and the details, because a lot of wedding vendors want those pictures for their portfolios and their website and the future advertisement. And by providing these images to these people, you're giving them an opportunity to showcase your work, and that's going to be part of your referral chain, right? So make sure that you take pictures of the DJ and send it to him. He will advocate for you. If you help them, they'll help you. As they say, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Also, exchange business cards. There's going to be times where your brides are going to ask you if you know people. And once you've been at a few weddings and you know how DJs work, and if you like their work and they're professional and they know what they're doing, you refer them. And the more business you bring them, the more business they're going to bring you. Okay, moving on. All right. So photography is an ever progressing, I guess you could say, craft. And so, but there are some already predetermined rules, or rules that are set in stone. And so we really want to practice your composition, because that's what's going to make some of the most prettiest photos you can take. A good quality camera can only do so much. You really have to understand the fundamental of photography. One of those rules is called the rule of thirds. And so when you're looking on the slide on the left, you can see that the couple is on the third right. And so by having the couple on one side of the images, it creates negative space on the left, and it showcases the the environment. It puts things a little bit into in context. You don't necessarily always have to have the couple in the middle of the picture. That makes it a little bit boring as well. So you want to practice the rule of thirds to get a little bit creative, if you will. Now, remember I said you should have some zoom lenses. Zoom lenses are ideal for sneaking around wedding days and capturing people talking and having a moment. As soon as you get too close to people with a big camera, they all bunch up and they all get stressed out and they all like try to stand, pose, look at you, smile, and those pictures are not very natural. So um trying to use your 70 to 200 if you can, to stand back a little bit and like take pictures of people having a genuine interaction. I think those pictures, I personally find them to be the most prettiest one, where people are not doing a forced smile. All right, next piece, directing your couples and bridal parties. This is gonna be hard. You really gotta like take leadership here because people are not listening. People are also drinking and they're not hearing you. And sometimes you really gotta like bark orders without being unprofessional. You gotta be really firm and be like, okay, now I need mom and dad. Boom. I need grandpa, grandma. Boom. You want to get through your family formal photos as quickly as you possibly can while still delivering a quality product, but that dragging those too long wastes part of the day, and people want to go get to the reception and have fun. They're not there to pretend they're models, right? People get a little uncomfortable in front of a camera, so that's why I recommend really having a system when you're posing your clients, because it's part of the experience. The way I do it, I typically will herd the whole crowd to where I want to take a picture. So I'll have the biggest crowd possible and then I'll just narrow down. So I'll be like grandma, grandpa, cousin, Uncle Tom, whatever, friend, James, anybody who wants to be in the big group photos. And then I just subtract people. Okay. Get rid of the least important persons and then just narrow down to at the end the couple, the parents, and the bridal party. And then you can don't forget to do a couple's photo shoot. Sometimes things, you're under the clock and you might forget. Make sure that you have a few photos of the couple together by themselves. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be likely showing up online, or they're going to be printed or showing up on the wall. So don't forget to have the couple by themselves. If you have to sometimes shoo people away and just be you and the couple, where they can actually relax and breathe a little bit and give them a 5-10 minute breather while you're taking picture of them, will allow them to really have a moment to themselves, because it will likely be the only time that they're going to be alone with you, I guess, as a third wheel. Pretty good as like staying back a little bit. The only time they're really going to be alone and have a conversation and soak in the wedding day, because it is arguably one of the most biggest milestone, right? So yeah. And then the last piece, dealing with lighting conditions. um a wedding can be outside in a very sunny day with no cloud in the sky and everything's blown out, and that's going to be a challenge. How do you take pictures like that? You got to learn how to manage that. Then you might find yourself in a church with no windows. Now you're in a dark environment. Now you got to take a flash, but can you use flash in a church? Sometimes you might not be able to do so. Now how do you set your exposure triangle? That's important. And then at night, now you're down to, it's now 11 p.m. There's not any ambient lighting. All the lights in the venue have been turned off, and now it's just the DJ booth light that's just popping off. Now how do you manage that situation? This is when you'll use an on-camera flash, and now you got to learn how to properly expose and diffuse light. Those are important skills to learn. You're basically changing lighting situation throughout the day, and being able to deliver quality photos for every single situation is going to set you apart from you and the amateurs, right? And so that's why I personally like to use prime lenses at night, specifically when it's very challenging, very dark, and I want to have the biggest possible opening to allow light to come in. So I want to use my fastest lens possible, something in the range of f1.2, f1.4. The wedding day. So, James Baker, the former Secretary of State, has said proper preparations prevent poor performance. Winston Churchill, the UK Prime Minister, I believe, has paraphrased this before as well. And it's basically saying if you come unprepared during the day, you're going to look unprepared during the day. So, there are some tools to help you with dealing with that. Obviously, you can't prepare for every single thing, but as long as you prepare for as much as you possibly can, I think it's going to make your experience enjoyable. Two, it's going to reflect to your clients that you take your job seriously because you came prepared. And guess who's going to be recommending you to the client if you do a good job? think long term, right? And time management on the wedding day is very important, making sure that you arrive on in the premises. I usually like to show up a nice an hour before, just in case, I gotta beat traffic, I'm stuck, I get into a wreck. At least I'll have some time to dust myself off and get there early enough to, capture the day. Other piece is handling stress. That you just hopefully you're not a person that takes stress too serious that it debilitates you. I'm pretty good at it, but there's going to be a lot of like shenanigans going to happen depending on the type of wedding. But like you will be upfront with, the couple taking pictures during the ceremony. Somebody will like stand right in front of you with a cell phone, and you're going to be essentially missing shot. How do you handle that frustration? Do you yell at someone and then now all the attention is on you? Don't want to do that. You really want to learn to balance that out and be polite. Staying unobtrusive. That's where you don't want to be too bringing too much attention to yourself. You want to be, you know, using a 70 to 200 to, take, pictures of the guests and the couple from a distance. That's how you can deliver quality images while not being too obtrusive, if you will. And then communicating with the clients, over communicate if you possibly can. I have a lot of communication with my client. One, the first time I talk to them, I book a consultation call a week or two before the wedding. I, send them an email, ask them how things are going, if the plan will change. And then the day before, I'll actually call the client and get final details on the wedding. And then the next morning on my way to the wedding, I'll text one of the two and say, I'm on my way. This is how you set yourself apart from amateurs. By communicating with your clients, you always want to make sure that they're now wondering where you are, that they know where you are, so that their wedding is being captured in all its glory. And then also, weddings are long. I love them, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I get drained after a long day of 12 hours of standing on my feet taking pictures, everyone talking to you all day. Um, I'm usually like exhausted, and so you don't want to show up tired. I would recommend that you go to sleep early, you're not drinking, and you're not showing up hungover, because it's going to show and it's going to reflect on your work, and you don't want that. So get enough sleep and bring enough water through the day to stay hydrated, because you're likely not going to sit down for more than 15 minutes in a 12-hour span, and you're going to, lose a lot of electrolytes. So bring water. And then also food. I always have a food in my car, not because I'm a gluten, but because um, you're not always fed. You are fed the majority of the time, but sometimes they just may not thought about it. And so you don't want to be leaving a wedding to go get food, especially those that are like, in rural areas where you're going to be absent for an hour. You could miss a lot. Excuse me, it's been a long day. But yeah, making sure that you have food. You always want to be around. One of my clients told me, Sam, you were everywhere and nowhere. That's exactly what you want to aim for. You want to be everywhere that they don't have to look for you, but you don't want to be in their faces that you annoy them. It's a little balance, you know what I mean? So that's why I say bring your own food. If you need a 5 minute breather, go to your car, grab a bite to eat, come back, but always stick around where the activities, because things can happen at a moment, and you don't want to miss those moments, because the unplanned activities are always the funnest and the ones that the couple will remember. And I love hearing from my couples, oh, you captured that. You remember this. Yes, I remember this because I was around the whole time. I never left your side. You didn't see me the whole day, but I was always in the area. Okay. Now, after the wedding day, your process, your workflow will dictate the experience that you have. One, I would say, when you are, I guess, as you're building your business and you're learning photography and you're building a bit of a style, your images might like change from one wedding to the other, and that's okay as long as they're relatively close and you don't deliver something completely left field that your client weren't expecting. It's okay to change your style slightly. But at the beginning, my suggestion would be to use presets. Um, find a photographer you like and respect, especially one that, you know is in the wedding field, ideally, and buy the presets and use them for a couple of sessions. I think that will help you at least have a base, and then come up with your own style. But don't go too left to the field. There are photographers who are experimenting way too much right now, and their images look so out of the norm. And experimenting on weddings is not exactly ideal. Don't want to do that. um, you don't want to be using too much trendy styles, because often trends come and go, and those clients are stuck with those photos, right? So that's why I say try to have a consistent style, see what your competitors are doing, and trying to emulate something similar, what the industry standard look is. All right. The basic tips using popular software. You guys are coming into the wedding photography business at a really good time, because a lot of things that used to be done manually is now done by AI. So you don't need to sit there for 20 or 30 hours and edit 700, 1,000 images night after night. Um, Softwares like Imagine AI are now like doing a 800 image editing in like 20 minutes. It's a paid service, but would you prefer to sit there for 20, 30 hours editing images manually, or pay 40, $50 and just have a system do it for you? And then you save yourself 20, 30 hours. How much is your time worth for you? I bet you 30 or $40 is not worth $20 if you do the math, right? So that's why I would implement AI editing, not from the get go, because you want to learn the fundamentals of editing pictures. You want to know how to use Lightroom properly to deal with images that may not come out right, but are important to your clients. So you do want to learn how to use the tool, but once you're comfortable, it's okay to use an AI. Whatever makes the business more efficient and gives you your time back that you can spend on something more important like the family. Um, that's what I would suggest. Culling your images. Most of us edit our photos with Lightroom, but if you use Lightroom at any time, you will know how slow it is. You don't want to cull using Lightroom. I use Photo Mechanic. It's a software you only buy one time, about $120 Canadian, and then it shows you your images, and you can tag them much faster, and that's all you need to import into your Adobe Gallery catalog and edit from there. You don't need to like cull from it. Culling is super slow with Adobe, and you will waste a lot of time. So this is my workflow. If I were you, bring your images into Photo Mechanic. Allow Photo Mechanic to basically pick the ones that you're going to deliver, and then bring those images into Lightroom. Apply your preset, do your editing, or even better, you want to send them to an AI editing for you. And then once your images are complete, you want to deliver them through a online gallery. If you ever use this, the website called Pixieset, it lets you put your images in a very pretty web page. It displays the images very nicely together in a tile format. You can also upload videos to it and deliver them that way. However, I know I jumped to the delivering the final gallery, but if you really want to impress your client, you do want to deliver a preview, typically a sample of those images. So like at least 20 or 30 of those photos. That's what you want to do in order to at least show your couples a few pictures and what the editing might look like. And also, while the first few days of the wedding, everything is really everyone is excited about it, and so you want to show them a little bit of those pictures, and they'll likely show up online, so they want to show off a little bit, and so that's why you want to deliver a sneak peek or preview, as they say. Okay, next piece, your brand and your portfolio. Um, there is a number of ways you can build your portfolio. Your brand is not just your colors, your logo, or anything like that, but really one, your online presence, your personality, the type of images you post online, and what your clients think of you. That's all part of your brand. And so creating an online presence is super important. Obviously, Instagram and Facebook are the biggest social media platforms for displaying pictures. So you definitely want to start there for when you're trying to attract your ideal clients. Facebook being maybe for the older crowd now. A lot of the people that used to be on Facebook have migrated to Instagram now. So maybe you want to start with Instagram, and because Meta owns both of them, you could actually cross post. So if you post on one, it shows up on the other. So that's why you want to start there. And then YouTube is a big one, especially for if you want to show behind the scenes. Um, Maybe perhaps start a YouTube channel that then requires you a different skill set. You want now you're going into the video territory. So it is a little bit more complicated to develop, videos. But if you really want to show off your personality, your person, the way you speak, the way you communicate, you do want to have a YouTube channel, because it really helps out with the online presence. And then TikTok. I have a TikTok channel. I'm failing miserably because I TikTok is really for Gen Z, and us millennials, we're too old to be on TikTok. So they let us know by not really liking your stuff and not really like following your channel and all that. So although I still have a TikTok presence, in case all of these platforms fold on itself, I at least I'll have some kind of fallback app, social media app like TikTok. But really having a combination of these four and whatever other soft social media platform that exists that you can think of. Do not spread yourself too thin though. I think a sweet spot is around three social media platform. Being engaged is better, and you want to put a lot of energy into those than be spread out so thin that you're not really engaging with your client. You're not really posting, because not every single platforms are going to be using the same type of content. And so um, understanding the culture of each app individually and what works is going to be key to building that following and that audience. And managing too many of them without an individual, without a team, is basically going to lead to burnout, essentially. All right. And so, build that online presence, have a posting schedule, post photos, post reels, and really get to know um, your competitors as well by building social media accounts. You want to follow your direct competitors to see what they're doing, what's working well for them. A lot of these platforms do give you a good feedback. You can see the likes they're getting, and so you'll know these are the types of posts that you should aim to at least meet, to at least be somewhat competitive, if you will. And arguably, one of the most important things you want to do while you're building a brand is really capturing client testimonials, because then you can use those to show previous clients what your new clients, what your previous clients think of you, by really showing that you've done an excellent job and you went above and beyond. Will build that trust. And so that's why client testimonials are super, super important. And posting them to your website will be seen by um, you know people who may be interested in your services. So it all becomes part of your sales funnel. And so if you're more interested in learning about business strategies and building sales funnel, I have a course coming up that's going to be available. So if you are interested, sign up for my to my email list. When you download the free preset, you automatically get added to my email list, so you'll be first to know um, and about courses that are coming up. And I'll have a lot of content that are going to be sharing soon. So one, sign up for that newsletter, or rather email list. But while you do that, you also get my free presets. These are the presets that I actually use for my weddings. They come in a bundle of 4, so you get um, my standard preset, which I use mostly for weddings. Then you have my bright preset, which allows me to brighten up a scene that's a bit, on the dark end. You get my black and white presets. That's my standard black and white. And then you also get my warm preset for oftentimes travel photography, which is something that I love doing. If you haven't seen my Cancun video, um, at Island Mujeres. And if you want to go see some pirates sword fighting, um, go check out my YouTube channel. It's a very interesting travel photography video. You might like it. Don't forget to leave a like. All right. Well, we're now at the end of the training session. I do have a few pieces of key information that I do want to share. But if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them now. So, now that you have a basic understanding of wedding photography, at least what it takes to become a proficient and profitable wedding photographer, are there specific, areas that you feel that perhaps this training session did not cover, or are there things that you're insecure about with wedding photography? Are there things that bring you more anxiety than other aspects of the wedding photography? I'll tell you one of mine. Mine is posing. Um, as I'm getting a little bit older, my memory isn't as sharp as it once was. So trying to remember, a dozen poses off the top of my head, especially when I'm like running around all day, is something that brings me a lot of stress. So what I do to mitigate that, I have a on my phone a folder in my galleries that basically give me a number of posing ideas. So I think at any given time I may have like 50 or 60 that I can like call upon to try with my clients. By the way, posing is challenging not only because you have to make people who've never done a photo shoot not necessarily act like models, but put them in a position that brings out flattery images. But also couples can have a variety of body shape. So like a more bigger guy with a smaller girl may make it challenging for you to do specific poses. So having a variety of poses that you can try out that's flattering is very important. And so that's why I have a sample, a long list that I can call upon at any given time, and my phone is always with me. So that's what I do. That's how I kind of like come up with ideas quickly. If you ever want to learn about posing, go watch my engagement photo shoot from the 2023 season. They're all online. You can see me interacting with clients and telling them how to pose, how to stand, how to sit, where to put their hands, and then it'll give you an idea as to how you should try to guide your couples essentially. Now, photography, taking pictures is one aspect of wedding photography, but client service is a huge aspect. My question to you is, how are you able to deal with people? A lot of people. On any given day, you might be dealing with 50, 60 people at a wedding. You have your couple, then there's the bridal party, then there's the family, then there's the vendors. Are you able to cope with people? Do you like people? Is my question. Can you hang out with people for 10, 12 hours and not burn out? Weekend after weekend, it's a big consideration. The beauty of it all is when it comes to wedding photography, it's a project based, so you can take as many weddings as you want or as little as you want. It's all up to you. That's the beauty of it. Working, being a solo entrepreneur, but you really have to like people, and it will make the job a lot less exhausting, if you will. Now, in terms of key takeaways, um, I would, like I said in my previous slides, to buy used and then upgrade later, because you have to buy so much gear in the beginning that you don't want to put it all in one and then, like, unfortunately, stall your progress. So buy used gear as much as you possibly can and then upgrade. It won't take you long. Once you're running a profitable business, you will be able to upgrade your cameras and computers very quickly. Prepare and over communicate. All right. Now, in terms of resources for you, one of the most influential books that I've read lately is After 1000 Weddings by Taylor Jackson. He's a wedding photographer from Kitchener Waterloo. The man, um, I've learned so much from that guy. He teaches you the fundamentals of photography, yes, but he also teaches you a lot about the business aspect of wedding photography, how to deal with clients, how to book more efficiently, how to edit faster. He accelerates your growth by I would say easily 5 to 10 years. So Get you the 1000 Weddings by Taylor Jackson book. I think you will appreciate it. Jab, 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 right hook by Gary Vee. Unless you live under a rock, everybody knows Gary Vee. He's a social media guru who basically teaches you how to leverage social media to bring attention and business to your basically your venture, if you will. And so that book teaches you how to navigate Facebook, TikTok, all of the social media platforms. That's what he that's what I use him for, learning how to bring attention. And then the other one is Create Something Awesome by Roberto Blake. He is also another social media marketing guru who teaches you how to build an audience. And the more a bigger audience you have, um, I think it would make the sales process for securing clients a lot easier. And so that's why I think these three books, the combination of the three, will help you really build that solid business, if you will. Okay. So, as I promised earlier, my goal here is to really teach you how to become one, profitable, successful, fulfilled. And so, if you were to um, sign up for my email list, one, you'll get my preset pack for free. But also, I do have my email templates, my consultations document, my key shots question, and my contract available for sale. It's $99 for the four. I use these, a combination of the four, for every single booking that I make. It took me a while to get them, to the state that they are, and I believe that my key shots questionnaire really helps me figure out exactly what's important for my client, but my contract also prevents me from getting lawsuits. So those two things in combination with my email templates and my consultation document really helps me run a very efficient business and profitable business. Now, I do offer one-on-one coaching as well. So if you wanted to have a one-on-one, you and I can set an hour and a half for you, where I can, give you any of the four, and I have more coaching sessions available. But if booking clients is something you struggle with, I can sit down with you and give you a number of strategies that will help you book clients more. I can teach you how to, run a full wedding day from start to finish. What do you do when you get there during the getting ready? What do you do during the ceremony? Where should you be? What pictures you should be capturing? Then all the way to the end of the night. I can definitely coach you through that process. If you want to learn lighting, Lightroom and Premiere Pro editing, strategies, I can offer another 90-minute session, and also learning how to do challenging lighting photography. I have a number of courses. Um, they are about an hour and a half long each, and they are at 199 a piece. So if you are interested in scheduling a coaching session with me, um, feel free to do so. Mind you, you have zero risk associated with signing up with my coaching session, because guess what? If you are unhappy with the information that you get from these one-on-one coaching session, I guarantee you that I will refund your money, no questions asked. Okay, so know that if you sign up for these courses, they are 100% guarantee. I will refund you if you're unhappy. But when you do sign up, what do you get? Well, for one is I'm going to teach you advanced skills that go beyond the general information that you receive in this training session. You're going to get comprehensive business mastery, including branding, marketing, and pricing strategy. That's something we never discussed today, how to go about it. And then lastly, you're going to get ongoing support. So, like, I'm going to be mentoring you one on one. You can ask me pointed questions, and I'll be giving you my honest feedback. And also, you'll belong to the community where we actually exchange information. I'll let you know exactly where do we go and communicate with each other, where do we huddle. We're photographers, we're a tribe essentially, and we share information amongst one another, and we learn from one another. Even though most of us have been doing this for a number of years, we're always faced with new challenges. And so by taking on by signing up for my transformational services, you really not only learn the fundamentals and the advanced skills, but you also belong to a group that's going to help you grow in the long run. And eventually down the road, you can always pass down that knowledge you gain through this community based, field, if you will. All right. Well, I appreciate you sticking around, and I do these live streams on a weekly basis. So if you want to attend next week's session, they're typically on Tuesdays around 8 o'clock Eastern time. And so if you sign up to my YouTube channel, you'll get the notification. And so I will be changing the topic on a weekly basis. So what you learn today will not be exactly the same thing as next week. But I appreciate you attending this session, and I look forward to seeing you in the next live stream. Thank you, and have yourself a good night.